All right, first and foremost, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh, and we do so in the name of His only begotten Son, MASHARAH Yahushai. Coming back with another Friday night class.
Yeah.
We'll be dealing with a couple of things. Who saw the Hebrews on Trial event last week? Who saw that? You've seen it. All right. Well, for those of y'all that don't know, I didn't get to complete my presentation. I didn't get to do all my slides. So,
yeah, and whoever got Facebook, go on Alizar's page and share the live link.
Share that now. I didn't get to finish my presentation, so we're gonna do it tonight through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. We're gonna deal with some other things as well. But yeah, I'm gonna get right to it. So I can just go ahead and get that on out the way. All right. Who's seen Daniela go over his stuff? Because he didn't get to do his presentation. Anybody seen that? Daniela was coming with pure work for these guys. But yeah, so I'm gonna just get into the presentation. If y'all want to see the slides, go look at the link. Go look at the YouTube, and you'll be able to see the slides.
I need you to pull that up if you want me to read.
No, you ain't gotta read. I can read. You're all right. So this is where I left from, which was the quick recap of all the points that I had touched on, which is, of course, that Torah didn't come from Ma'at. Ma'at is a false balance, and Kemet is yet to be proven as a civilization, of course, in an etymological sense. The guys that got pretty upset with me behind making the statement that Kemet wasn't a civilization, but I was just looking at the etymology. Some call it a genetic fallacy, which it was a genetic fallacy. But the thing is, this is the type of BS that they do to us all the time. So I just gave them a taste of their own medicine.
Right.
I'm just going to throw stuff out there that is going to make y'all upset. You know, and then Jabari came back because I said there was no Medunetz's word for judgment. He came back or judge rather, and he came back and showed that there was cool, but you didn't show a judicial system there. You didn't show that. You know, so I just threw stuff out there. Why? Because it's what they do to us. So, you know, it was funny. It's hilarious to me. We're going to keep it going, though. We're going to move into the next slide. You had something?
I was going to say, was you going to go into the conversation we had with Rob Bourne in terms of...
Not right now, I'm not.
But you're going to touch on it? Because I was going to say...
Well, go ahead. Talk about it.
So pretty much, bro went into showing how it lacked the principle of a civilization because it didn't have a judicial system. We had a conversation with one of the Kemetic brothers, and they were saying, oh, well, it did. Kemet did have a judicial system and a court process, but it did not relay back to Ma'at. Then from him, we got a claim that, oh, well, Ma'at isn't laws, they're just principles. So anytime, you know, these Egyptian dudes is coming to you saying that, oh, we got the laws, statutes, and commandments from Ma'at. Ma'at isn't even laws. You see what I'm saying? So that's one way to substantiate that we can't get the laws from Ma'at. If you're saying that it's a principle, comes judgments. All right, there's law, statutes, commandments, and judgments, which they have yet to, you know, explain, break down, or edify as to what the judgments are for violating Ma'at. When they go into it, the 42 negative professions, I have not, I will not, so on and so forth. But if you have, then what's the judgment? And then that's another thing that the brother spoke about, the reciprocity of, you know, their court process. What's the repayment for violating your brother according to the laws of Ma'at, which they still haven't went in on. Well, yeah, that's all.
Yeah, the video is up though. That footage, I think, is on one of the Sonata's pages.
What?
of that conversation?
No, that's not on it.
Yeah, that part.
The later part is on it. That part of the discussion is not. That if he wasn't recording. He didn't walk up until the middle of the conversation. You know, when Divine was building. What I was going to say as well, there was another point that I wanted to make about that. Oh, and you'll notice as well, anybody who saw it, Jabari, if you've seen Jabari's presentation, Jabari made his presentation while all of us presented. And they bought him a little bit more time while having Reggie present first. But in Jabari's presentation, he did exactly what I said he was going to do and what they always do, because I like literally, if you look at this, like we gave the parallels, you know, I quoted the Mayat law, and then I put the biblical law, and we read them side by side. We showed the parallels, and I made the claim that they'll never do that. And he went on to try to prove the point that Mayat, but he didn't give any parallels. He just said that this law comes from all these laws of Mayat. It didn't make any sense. And again, to suggest that 9 became 613 is just it's ridiculous. And that's why Ankh even laughed at the notion that was even possible or plausible or logical, right? But we're gonna move on. We're gonna get into the law slides. All right. So this slide is called The Importance of Mythos. Kemetic priest, Brother Jabari, the myths and their message are of far more importance than the historical authenticity, and I agree. Why? Number one, because the word myth doesn't denote fiction, and number two, it leaves a positive path to emulate, right? Principles and the morals of the story, right? So what are some valuable biblical mythos? We take Colin Kaepernick into consideration and how he's emulating the path that Moses walked. If we take the story of Exodus and how there's no story in history that black people in America can relate more to than the story of the Exodus, or we take a look at the story of Yahushua, young brother with humble beginnings, you know, from the hood, from the streets, who comes up and lays his life down for his people. All of these are positive examples and stories in which they have morals that all of us can extract from and apply directly to our lives, right? So now let's take a look at the Kemetic myth and how it's being emulated in our community today. Okay. In Spell 700 from the Book of the Dead, Kemetic deity Geb says his phallus is between the buttocks of his son and heir. This is what they believe in Kemet, right? Let's examine how the principle of this is being emulated by quote-unquote Cometians in this day and age, right? So if we take a look at African Bambaataa, is everybody familiar with African Bambaataa in the scandal that broke out last year? So you got, does everybody know who African Bambaataa is? Sonic Force, all right? He's a legendary, he's considered one of the founders of hip hop, all right? This guy named African Bambaataa. For years, he was molesting little boys. It came out last year that for years he'd been a homosexual and he's been molesting little boys for years. For over 20, 30 years, he's been doing this, right? But guess what philosophy he follows? You think he's into the Bible? Think he follows the Quran? No, he follows ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt, where their myths consist of their gods being incestuous child molesters. You see what I'm saying? So it's no wonder that he's a child molester. Look at the culture that he's following. Not to mention, of course, his buddy, Malachi Z. York. All right. If y'all are familiar, Malachi York and Africa Bambaataa were close before Malachi York was incarcerated. Is everybody familiar with Malachi York and how he's in jail for a laundry list of counts of child molestation? You see what I'm saying? So we take a look at Kemet and little boys. You understand what I'm saying? And we take a look at the people who follow Kemet, we see them molesting little boys. So we see from the mythological aspect what mythos or whose myths are better for people. And even in the conversation that we had the night before with myself and Jabari and Ankh, they both admit on the power of the myths of the Bible, because they say 2,000 years later, every nation of people on the earth is arguing about Jesus Christ in all the stories in the Bible. Everybody's doing it. Nobody's arguing about their stories. Nobody cares about the stories of Egypt. That's not influencing millions of people around the world anywhere. People all over the world is arguing about the Bible.
What's the most selling?
The highest selling book in the world. New York Times bestseller every week. You see what I'm saying? power that's there, and people trying to use that power. What's the power in this crap that these guys are into? Child molestation. That's the evidence shows. There's no disputing it. It's clear because you have child molesters that follow this ideology, right?
Yeah, that spirit, that vibration
of straight
rub off on you.
Being a pirate. All right. Moving on. So which myths are we to go with? The ones that encourage us to take a stand and lay down our lives for the liberation of our people, i.e. Jesus and Moses, or the ones that advocate homosexuality, pedophilia, and incest in one sentence. Literally, it says that his phallus was between the buttocks of his heir. So that's incest because that's your child. That's pedophilia because that's a little boy. And that's homosexuality because that's the same sex as you. In one sentence, 3 different forms of fornication were advocated in the myths of Egypt. But I'm supposed to follow that. I mean, you can follow that if you want to. All right. So there's a woman who's the head of Orthodox Comedicism, okay, and her name is Nasut Tamra Sayuda, right? She received her master's in Egyptology from the University of Chicago. In her book, The 42 Purifications, she says Mayat does not condemn homosexuality, right? And as a decorated scholar and spiritual leader who is an expert in what's called the Medu Neter, everybody know what the Medu Neter is, right? That's the hieroglyphs. That's all that is, the hieroglyphs, all right? Such claim is simply data manipulation. So when these guys say that it's in the Mayat that I have not had sex with a man, because that's what they allege is in there. In the spell 700, it's not talking about homosexuality. But this, who I'm gonna believe? These guys who are reading books, or one of the ladies who actually has her master's in the science? It don't even make no sense. Of course, I'm gonna go with who's got the master's degree, who really studied it. Any such claim is data manipulation. So she's saying they're trying to manipulate the words when they try to act like it's condemning homosexuality. She goes on to say, the passage that is being used to say so is actually referring to a boy child and not a man. And even with that being said, chief Kemetic deities violate even this directly, as we previously stated about Geb molesting a little boy. Other translations assert it is said to be a female equivalent to adultery reference elsewhere in Mayat, basically because Mayat tells you not to commit adultery and not to sleep with another man's wife, which is one of the parallels you can see with our laws as well. But then they're saying that the scripture, or not the scripture, but the principle in Mayat that says, I have not slept with man, they're saying that that's from a female perspective, that she has not committed adultery with a man outside of her husband. These guys are trying to take it and say it means not being a homosexual, not being a homo, right? The fact that there is no clear indication of condemnation of homosexuality anywhere in Kemetic culture caused the integrity of the entire culture into question, because you really can't go anywhere. All the times where they say homosexuality is being spoke down upon in Kemet can be called into question. There is no call into question about the judgment that happened to the city of Sodom. There is no call into question about Leviticus 20 and 13, Romans 1. You see what I'm saying? There's no question about if the Bible is against homosexuality. There is nowhere you could really find definitively in all the writings of ancient Kemet that outright condemns homosexuality. The question,
it's up for debate.
It's all up for debate.
It shouldn't be.
Which something like that should never be, right? In conclusion, my personal beliefs, predicated upon the evidence I presented through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai tonight, shows how quickly this can be used to continue the sadistic, deviant culture of sexual abuse and the homosexual agenda within our communities. Thus, an ideological eradication of Egypt is in order, period. Keep following this madness that tells you that has all kinds of form of not only homoerotic literature, but also homoerotic imagery.
Yeah,
visuals. You see what I'm saying? And the dude gonna say, you have to learn for 42 years before y'all heard him say this? Holding his penis and said, you got to learn for 42 years before you can understand what this means. I don't want to learn for 42 years to understand. I understand what that means, and I understand I want absolutely nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Did it take 42 years for them to understand it 3,500 years ago?
And guess what? You know what his wife said? Let me tell you something. Now, when Tommy Sotomayor got punched at the Sonetta event, do you know what Jabari's wife got on the mic and said when brothers was getting rowdy? Do you know what she said? She said, y'all got to get in touch with your feminine side. Huh? Well, hold on. What? That was, and I'm gonna tell you something too. You'll see if you in the video that I got, which won't come out, you'll see something. Because you know they believe in Mayat, right? So Mayat is symbolized by a feather. So when you see these women that are into this Egyptian culture, they'll wear a feather in a big old white feather in their head, right? So as it's getting ready to jump off, she take the feather out of her hair. She start trying to rub niggas with the feather like it's gonna calm niggas down. Yeah, Mayat it's out the window. She starts singing like in the church. She starts singing Egyptian Amazing Grace in the church. You see what I'm saying? Like it was just gonna stop, and none of it. I'm talking about it. Literally amped this. Probably amped the situation because no, I didn't get that on camera. I just got the punch on camera. And I stopped rolling because I didn't know what was gonna jump off after. I thought niggas was gonna start rushing, but man, it was something special. But it shows, man, that comedic. This stuff is nonsense, man, and it's not. There's no practical application of it to help our people in this day and age. So it's out the window. All right, the scriptures we can see clearly. You know what I'm saying? How it's helping us. Give me somebody give me Leviticus 18:3, and I'll we'll move on. That's it. Go ahead.
When you was there, man, one the situation with the they wasn't going to show you that picture unless you were studying for 42 years. That has like a Freemason vibe to it, you know, where you got to go through the 32.
Well, that's where Freemasonry comes from.
You got to go through the 32 levels or the 32 degrees. I mean, as the saying goes, or the legend, what have you, you get to the 33rd, and they start tearing down all of this God belief, because they say you have to be a believer in some sort of God. Then when you get to the 33rd, they let you know, well, it's the devil that does this, or some sort of demon, or whatever. So you're not going to be able to understand what's going on when you're at the first, second, and third degree, or the first, second, and third years of studying Kemet, until you're going to see the dude with his erect rod standing up, and then, you know, that's when you're going to be comfortable with seeing that. Two, when the lady starts to sing, this is probably the same things that was going on in Egypt. We had these beliefs that they put on us to keep us subjugated, and we loved it so much that we started to practice these things the same way they gave us Christianity. You just think that all we got to do is sing these hymns and these spiritual songs, and the spirit is going to come down and calm everything down. All right, that's the parallel between with Esau's captivity and you know the Egyptian captivity. And we just think that if we just do this, it's going to work, and we just will never try to follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. We'll never go that route to see if that works. We'll just rather sing a song, like the brother said, dust people off with this big ass feather, and it looked ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what she thought was going to happen. You know, I'm sure she had full faith that something was going to happen, but that didn't calm a Negro down anywhere. The situation, the police got caught after that. Niggas start, you know what I mean? I'm not even going to talk about it. You see what I'm saying? But it was getting ready to get hectic in there. You see what I'm saying? So that don't make no sense. We have Leviticus from 18:3 in Leviticus.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 18, verse 3. After the doings of the land of Egypt.
Read. Well, we were. Go ahead.
Shall ye not do?
That's why. You hear about what's on their damn walls, all this incest and pedophilia and homosexuality and false balance that we exposed to the spirit in regards to Mayat. He say, do not do after the ways of the Egyptians. We were instructed explicitly by the Most High to not do these things. Yet here these Negroes are in this day and age doing these damn things. Right? Go ahead.
And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do, neither shall ye walk in their ordinances.
We'll follow after the ways of the Hamites, man. That's what we don't do. We don't follow Hamitic traditions. Okay? Period. We don't, because it's all wicked. When you deal with the Canaanites religion, they was killing all kind of babies. All right? And Kemet killed babies too. All right? They first couple centuries, their first couple dynasties, they was dealing with vampirism and all kind of madness, man. Drinking human blood, sick. We're not supposed to do that. Thus saith the Lord God. All right.
Right, just like other nations as well, right? Following after other nations like the Greeks, right? Again, following after the Grecians, you see similarities of homosexuality that the Grecians practice, just in their cultural period. That's symbolic to what they did in ancient Egypt, right? That's where they get a lot of their customs and practices from.
Priest Danyala brought it out in his presentation.
Right.
Everybody knows they wrestle naked, right? In Greece. Priest Danyala brought out his presentation. They got that from Egypt. He got little boys wrestling naked on the walls in Egypt.
See that?
The white man even got that from them. Well, number one, the Sodomite, those were Hamites. You see what I'm saying? So Esau, he don't come up with nothing on his own. He got to learn from somebody. And his chief teacher was the people of Ham and all of their various wicked ways. Period. The Cushites, the Mizraimites, the Canaanites, the Sodomites, etc. were teachers of the white man and all of his wickedness and evil. Right?
God.
Yeah, this is Isaiah chapter 19, verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
The princes of Zoan are become fools.
You know, son, that's why I asked you about this. Isaiah 19. Yeah.
You should have told him, go watch the video.
You know, watch the breakdown. Huh?
The princes of Noph are deceived, also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. The Lord has mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof.
See that? It's a perverse spirit in Egypt. That's why whoever the hell came up with these myths that wrote them in Egypt, that's why they're so perverse. There's a perverse spirit in the midst of that place. Go ahead.
And have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof.
Everything they do is wicked. That's what they're saying. Go ahead.
As a drunken man staggereth in his vomit.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So that Egypt nonsense is out. At this point, we're going to teach what we teach. Y'all can teach whatever the hell it is that y'all teach. And let's see who reaches more people. Let's see who wakes more brothers up. Let's see who gets more people involved in this real fight, this spiritual fight. We'll see, you know, at the end of the day. But that was on that. Go ahead.
That was it.
You want to go to Revelation 12?
Oh, yeah. I wanted to wait, but
you want to touch on this, so I ain't really hearing nothing else. I thought I was going to go a little longer.
Okay. I'll go through it briefly. We're going to deal with this Revelation 12 chapter. We're going to go through it. We ain't going to give all the bullets because we're going to try to do the whole book of Revelation, or pretty much most of it. So we're going to go through the 12th chapter real quick, and then we'll open it up for questions in the room or in the chat. Sergeant, let me get Revelation 12. Let's start at verse 1 and just go through it.
Come. Real quick. Hey, everybody need to be listening to this too, all right? Because I already know there's going to be a lot of questions in regards to stuff that was already covered. So just make sure everybody's paying attention to this breakdown.
Go ahead.
Book of Revelation, chapter 12. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and under her head a crown of 12 stars.
12. Who is this woman? Israel. There you go. What's the sun and the moon represent? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And the 12 stars? 12 tribes of Israel. Go ahead. Verse 2.
God. And she, being with child, cried.
Who's the child that Israel is with? Who's the child that's being birthed? Yahushua. Go ahead.
Travailing in birth and pained to be delivered.
Go ahead.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads.
So who's the great red dragon? Who? What empire? Nah, this is back then. The Roman Empire. There you go. 7 heads and 10 horns. And the glory of the Roman Empire was comprised of 10 kingdoms. Or the 7 governments of Esau. So that's what the 7 heads and 10 horns are. Go ahead.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven.
So why did the Roman Empire only crush 3 of the 12 stars? So 3 of the tribes. There you go. Because there was only 3 tribes there at the time. Go ahead.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
This is specifically talking about King Herod. Who knows what Herod did when he heard that Christ was about to be born? There you go. Go ahead.
And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations.
That's Christ. Go ahead.
With a rod of iron. And her child was caught up.
He was what?
Caught up unto the Most High.
He was caught up unto the Most High.
And to his throne.
What does that mean? The child being Christ, he was caught up to the Most High and in his throne. That means Christ ascended back up to heaven after his crucifixion.
Is any man ascended to heaven or descended? No, only Yahushua has done that. No other man is ascended and descended on his own. No, a chariot coming to get you is not. Somebody came and picked you up. You see what I'm saying? You didn't just do it on your Yahushua on his own.
Even if it is Melchizedek, that's Yahushua.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Yeah, but
he got translated.
He got translated.
He didn't just on his own.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
Con. And the woman fled into the wilderness.
So we know that the woman is Israel, the 3 tribes. This is why people get the wilderness messed up. They think we're going into the wilderness in this time. We're not going in the wilderness. When we're in the wilderness, it'll be in the Middle East, more than likely the same wilderness, and Christ will be doing the separating. People say, I'm gonna catch this nigga in the wilderness. There's not gonna be no wilderness. Pretty much when Christ beams up everybody and puts them in that wilderness, that's gonna be Christ figuring out separating the sheep from the goats from within our nation, the 2/3 from the 1/3, or not the 2/3 from 1/3. Those that are of the elect and those that are not going to be getting down with us. People that look like Israel, but they're not. No. That's the wheat
and tear. That's not sheep and goat.
Goat and sheep is dealing with us. The goats are stubborn. The sheep are the elect. The goats are the stubbornness of they're gonna get slayed. They're gonna get slaughtered. Yeah, that's when Christ's gonna say, those are my, what is that? Those are my enemies that would not that I
Luke 19:27.
Them, bring hither and slay before me. Because even after, just like in the ancient time, after they seen the Red Sea split and the 7 plagues, they still was murmuring against the Most High. That's how it's gonna be this time. Moses. They're gonna see all the glorious deliverance, and they're still gonna be rebellious, and they're gonna get put to death. So go ahead.
Con. And the woman fled into the wilderness.
So this wilderness is dealing with the dispersion in 70 AD to the interiors of Africa, and through time, probably a couple hundred years of time, ultimately the 3 tribes on the west coast of Africa. That's the wilderness. Go ahead.
Where she had a place prepared of the Most High.
A place prepared of the Most High, because there was no civilization on the west coast of Africa. The Most High prepared that place for us because he knew we was going to get expelled out the land. Go ahead.
That they should feed her there.
Go ahead.
1,260 days.
Who can guess what that number's talking about? No. Nope. That's a good point. But it's not. No, this is dealing with years, each day for a year. If you go to Ezekiel 4,
these are the books, the history, the backs. He's probably be breaking down. All right, just a couple of
quote them.
All right,
what is it? The Ebos,
Hebrew exiles from Israel, amazing facts and revelations, by an Igbo brother that wrote this. This is a book by an Ashanti brother, the Africans that wrote the Bible. who wrote this as well, who's a PhD scholar. We got other books as well. This is just
We got endless sources.
we got in the store. This is just I just had these in the bag. See what I'm saying?
That's from Nigeria, Eagles?
These are from Nigeria. This is from Ghana. Akan, the Ashanti, they come from Ghana. You see, so it's not just limited to the Igbos.
Right. So each day for a year is 1203 square days is 1260 days. So it's 1260 years. That's the time from the expulsion in settlement all the way up to us starting to get taken down and getting taken into captivity.
Yeah, it take a time, Salakia, from like you said, from expulsion to that, because we didn't go immediately into West Africa. You study the history, you have a kingdom called Carthage. Who's familiar with the kingdom of Carthage? Carthage was where you get Hannibal from. Who knows about Hannibal? The actual Hannibal, not Hannibal Lecter, right? You deal with Hannibal and all of that. That was in North Africa. So we was on a migratory path to settle in West Africa. Go ahead. No, that's before. This is before Negroland. Yeah, Carthage is North Africa, where you got like Tunisia and Morocco and that area up there. We haven't got west yet all the way. It was north. But go ahead.
Right. So that was just the time that we were thriving in West Africa, basically not having to deal with Esau and the Edomites. This is going to prove this.
And even Hannibal was whipping, which really, I'm saying he's whipping Rome. But at that point in time, Rome is not Rome. Those are Israelites that's ruling Rome. This black man is ruling Rome at this time. Power at this time. So we were not, like you said, we're not dealing with the white man.
And it proves that later on in the chapter. But go ahead, let's finish that.
And there was a war in heaven.
Now, this is when you deal with Revelation, John the Revelator, just so Esau couldn't decode this, he goes back into time, then he goes forward into time, then he goes back into time and forward in time. So you got to be able to contextualize. The war in the heaven is not going to happen until Christ comes back, Rams, because they talk about the so-called chariot UFOs. This is going to be Christ and his angels, which are the so-called UFOs, the chariots of the Most High, which is in the Bible, against Esau and his Air Force. That's what this is talking about.
Operation Star Wars.
I was talking to my main man Tuesday about fallen angels, and we can see all throughout the Bible. We got videos. All you got to do is type in SICARRI, fallen angels debunked. There was no war in heaven. There's actually peaceful councils in heaven. All right, where there's no arguing or drama or anything. So if you want further edification on that, just look that up. But go ahead.
And there was a war in heaven.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Just to prove to you that the angels don't fight, because it's talking about angels and demons and devils fighting. If this is true, we got a major contradiction here. This is Jude, and it says, verse 9, Jude 1-9. Yet Michael, the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said the Lord rebuked. So is the archangel Michael fighting, or is he just simply can say the Lord rebuke you because the Most High and his angels has power over
if all I had to do is say something to you to end the situation, why would I ever fight?
Right. So that's how we know that it's talking about Esau, the damn devil, and his Air Force, which they call his Air Force. When a man dies in the army, they call them fallen angels. So the Most High already knew that was going they was going to have it set up like that. But go ahead, back in Revelation.
And prevailed not.
Hold on, did I finish the last part?
And the dragon fought and his angels.
And the dragon fought and his angel. So we know that this dragon ain't, this is talking about an actual empire. So now it's not even talking about the devil, really. So I don't even know how Christianity uses this. This is talking about an actual empire. It's not saying he fought with the devil. Go ahead.
And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven.
Neither was his place found any more in heaven. What does that mean? Rulership. There you go. All right. Whew, he might be a Levite. Go ahead.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil.
Calling him the old serpent, because he got that same spirit, and he's the devil because he's a white man controlled by Satan. Go ahead.
And Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Go ahead.
Meaning they're taken out of power. That's all that means. It don't mean nothing magnificent.
Fact, let's just
they were taken out of power.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and get that precept.
Okay. Isaiah chapter 24. Verse 20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, dealing with the thermonuclear destruction, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and not rise again. So we know that the heavens are always going to be here. The earth is always going to be here. So when it says it shall fall and not rise again, it's talking about the rulership that the Edomites have on the earth. And as well as all the other nations too, they got some rulership as well. It's just the Edomites dealing with Babylon. America is the sole power. Go ahead, back in Revelation.
Gone.
Yeah, we can blame the Christian church for making a lot of this sound spooky, man.
Right. It's just simple. When you just break it down through the spirit and power you have by Shema Shai, it's simple.
With the angels too, that was cast out with them, would they be considered those other nations that's in power with them too?
Well, no, this is solely dealing with Babylon and Esau's rulership. This,
the white man's army.
Yeah, the white man's army. You know, China and India and North Korea, they're gonna get taken down too. But Ezekiel 37 deals with the 38, I'm sorry, and then Joel 3, and then 2nd Ezra. That deals with pretty much the world war power. Revelation is kind of just focusing on taking down Babylon, taking down the so-called white man.
Red dragon.
Go ahead.
And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, salvation.
See, so here's the thing. If this happened, if this was actual Christianity doctrine, and it's saying after this fight, salvation has come, that means salvation would have came before the damn world began. If this is Christianity, because it says after this fight in heaven, salvation was going to come. So this is how we know this is a future prophecy. Go ahead.
And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his the Mashiach, for the accuser of our brethren.
Who's the accuser of our brethren? Keep reading because it'll give you guys a hint. Go ahead.
For the accuser of our brethren is cast down.
Keep going.
Which accused them before our power day and night.
The white man ain't going up to the Father accusing Israelites. This is talking about the spiritual demon Satan. Because when the white man is unemployed and taken down, Satan is gonna his power structure is gonna be taken down. Go ahead.
Come, verse 12.
Verse 11.
11. Salah. Came him by the blood of the Lamb.
How did the Israelites overcome the devil and Satan?
By the blood of the Lamb.
By the blood of the Lamb. You're not going to overcome this. You're not going to get through Jacob's trouble. You're not going to get through the hour of temptation unless you believe in the death, burial, or resurrection of Christ, HaMashiach Yahushua.
Come.
So in the Old Testament only, you added it. Go ahead.
And by the word of their testimony.
And you got to do the work. Now the Bible said you got to do the work. What's the word of our testimony? And week out, teaching our people the law, statutes, the commandments of the Most High, preaching the good gospel, preaching the good news. That's how we are going to overcome. Go ahead.
And they love not their lives unto the death.
Meaning what? We love not our lives unto death, meaning that we weren't scared to die.
And also enduring on to the end.
Come
on.
Therefore rejoice, ye heavens.
How is the heavens going to rejoice? Go ahead.
And ye that dwell in them.
Go ahead.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth.
So the Bible is saying if you're in the spirit world, you need to be happy. But woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, because we down here, we're going to have to go through some things. Go ahead.
The sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath.
This is the so-called white man when he came back in the rulership, starting with the Caesar Borgias, right? Go ahead.
Because he knoweth that he have but a short time.
Because he knows he have but a short time. And it's not even been a full 1,000 years for this white man had rulership, and it's been war for how many of these years?
I want to say 222, 23, something like that.
So he hasn't had a good peaceful kingdom. This is a short time of rulership. You got to understand, dealing with the three horns, the little horn that plucked up three horns, which is America, when he took down Spain, French, and Britain. That's when it became a real golden age for America and Esau. And that's, I think the last war was the Spanish War was what, 1819? So really, in all honesty, it's only been a couple hundred years. That's a short space according to the Most
Yeah,
High.
America ain't been America, 50 nifty United States and all that. There wasn't that until that little horn plucked up the three horns and was able to get the southeastern states, the southwestern states, basically the whole west, anything west of the Mississippi, that came from the Louisiana Purchase. You see what I'm saying? So they had to overcome those other white powers in order to get their full kingdom and rulership and power. So like the brother said, that's when the golden age started, when they was able to get this whole landmass.
Con. Let's finish this out.
Con.
Verse 13.
Con. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness.
And what is this talking about? This is my question, because you got people that's out there coming up with all kind of crazy doctrines. What is this talking about? Go ahead.
Con. And this wilderness again is just a reiteration. No, this wilderness is
We're going back. We're going back now because it just went in and elaborated on something. Now it's going back to the woman now.
Right.
Now we're back talking about what happened to this woman.
Back 70 AD.
Who the dragon is coming for. How are we going to save this woman, right? Go ahead.
Place where she is nourished
right
for a time.
So she's going somewhere to be nourished. She's being 2 wings to go somewhere and be nourished. Meaning we got the hell out of the land, went into Africa, and ultimately migrated to West Africa. That was the place where we were nourished, and we built great kingdoms. Like you talking about Negro land, the Dahomey kingdom, the kingdoms we had in Ghana, Mali, all over the place. Timbuktu, you had Mansa Musa, who was the richest man of all time. This is in West Africa. We're being nourished there during this time period. Go ahead.
I'll start it over. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness.
Meaning we got the hell out of Israel and into Africa and into uncharted parts of Africa. That's why it's called a wilderness. Read on.
There's documentation.
That's right.
Into her place where she is nourished for a time.
For a time, meaning a year. Go ahead.
And times.
And times is 2 years.
And half a time.
That's 3.5 years, which is also 1,260 days. So that's still dealing with the 1,260 year period. Go ahead.
From the face of the serpent.
From the what?
From the face of the serpent.
So this is how we know it's not America. Because we're in the face of the serpent. Judah was prophesied to be in the neck of his enemy.
That's right.
This is how we know this is West Africa, because we wasn't around the Roman Empire. We wasn't around Esau. Go ahead.
And we were able to be nourished and prosper during that period.
Con.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood.
Water as a flood. What's this flood talking about? This flood is talking about the Roman armies that were still chasing us down and pursuing us even after we were fled out of Israel. Go ahead.
As a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Yeah, when you deal with Isaiah, the 59th chapter, you guys can write this down. 59 and 19 is talk about armies as floods. Go ahead.
And the earth helped the woman.
The earth helped the woman, like the brother was saying. This uncharted land, this uncivilized land that the Most High gave to us. Go ahead.
You know, the white man can't last in Africa. He couldn't last in Africa until what? Get into Africa in a real way and last in the interiors of Africa. It helped the white man nearly and dearly because of this. It's called a gun. Okay? Before the gun, the white man is chopped liver in Africa. All right? Outside of Egypt, which he conquered quite easily, I might mind you. He had a hard time in Africa. So the earth, the the terrain that we were living in assisted us in this time. The white man couldn't chart it until he actually got a firearm. Then he was able to enslave us after the advent of the firearm. All right, the projectile firearm. Go ahead.
And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
And the Roman Empire was mad because most of us got away. Go ahead.
And went to make war.
But he came back, but they came back and they started killing the rest of the remnant of the Israelites that didn't leave in 70 AD.
That's right, because there were still brothers left.
Let me read it. Zechariah 14:2. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished. Half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. So we see that it was prophesied that a lot of us will go into captivity and a lot of us will stay. So they still persecuted the rest of the Israelites that weren't expelled in 70 AD until we were ultimately destroyed, pursuant to the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Go ahead and close that out.
Done. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahushua Mashiach.
There you go. Came to make war with those who believed in Yahushua. All right. So we're going to open up questions. Somebody look in the chat for questions. Any questions in the room? Go ahead, Art.
So in chapter 12, verse 3, I mentioned the EU because it was the Roman Empire, but now there's parallels with this being the new Roman Empire. So that's kind of what I brought out mentioning the EU. Although I didn't have understanding there.
Right.
I kind of saw it as it being the EU.
Yeah, well, the 7 heads and 10 horns, when you get up into the higher chapters of Revelation, is talking about NATO and EU. So it's just the Bible talks about it, says it's a reincarnated or revised Roman Empire. So
Just at that time, it was ancient.
Right.
So the EU and NATO wasn't there. But what the EU and NATO was there, and that was just simply the Roman Empire during that time. Asar.
17, it says the war against the seed of them kept the commandments. They talk about the 3 tribes of Judah, or they're talking about the Israelites over here that's keeping them.
You know, that's talking about the 3 tribes. If you read about something called Christian persecution in early Rome, they used to. That's what on New Year's Day they were burning quote unquote Christians and Jews and things like that. That's what that's talking about. No, this is thousands of years before that. Over 1,000 years before that. There was persecuting us in Rome. You see what I'm saying? No, they was only able to take over Mediterranean Africa. The top North Africa or the Egypt, they didn't have South Africa. You see what I'm saying? They didn't have the Congo because of those terrains was too rough for the white man. Then when he got a gun, then he was able to get and take over and use his influence because he was giving the Hamites and even Israelites guns, you know, and that was, you know, helping him get his influence and push his agenda. There's more. You have more, brother. What's your name, Out? Ari. That's all you had?
Like today,
You're all good.
So Russia is nowhere involved.
No, not at all. Russia's getting ready to destroy those horns.
Right.
So yeah, Russia's not involved with the temple. Give me Zechariah 1. I'm gonna show it to you. Zechariah 1 and this is all a part of the prophecy. Zechariah 1 and what is that? About 17.
Yeah, brick.
Come on.
4 horns?
Yep.
So 17 or just right there at the point.
At least 18. Slightly.
Book of Zechariah, chapter 1, verse 18.
Uh-huh.
Then lifted I up mine eyes.
Zechariah lifted his eyes up to see a prophetic vision. Read on.
And saw, and behold, 4 horns.
4 horns. Go ahead.
And I said.
So here's the horns now, right? You seeing 4 horns. Because of all these 7 heads and 10 horns, there's 4 chief horns. Brother reference. You have the one that plucked up the 3. America, France, England, and Spain. All right. Those are the 4 strongest armies of the West. Go ahead.
Right, because the horn symbolizes
Power.
right.
Go ahead.
And I said unto the angel that talked with me, what be these?
What are these? Go ahead.
And he answered me, these are the horns which have scattered Judah.
These are the horns that scattered Judah. Read on.
Israel. And Jerusalem.
These were the predominant partakers of the slave trade. Right?
Right.
Those horns were the main ones taking us into slavery. The Dutch found the slave trade early. Spain and Portugal is really looked at as one when you deal with the same group of Edomites. Right? So go ahead.
Come. And the Most High showed me 4 carpenters. Then said I, what come these to do?
Here come 4 carpenters. Right? What are the 4 carpenters coming to do? Read.
And he spake, saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head.
Read.
But these are come to fray them.
These are come to fray them, meaning these are come to destroy the 4 horns. Right? So there are 4 powers that are coming against another 4 powers. Right? So the 4 horns again, America, England, or Britain, France, and Spain. The 4 carpenters are Russia, Brazil, India, and China. All right, that are coming to take the white man's power structure here down. Right? Exactly. So after that, then the 4 carpenters of Russia and China, North Korean army are going to come against Yahweh Shai and the angels. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Come. But these are come to fray them, to cast out the horns of the Gentiles, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah to scatter it.
There you go. Right. Questions in the chat?
I want to say, can you go over Matthew 11 and 12?
Go to Matthew 11 and 12.
Matthew 11 and 12. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven and the violent take it by force.
Go on Facebook. You want to understand what that scripture is about? Turn on Facebook, watch a black or Hispanic man get beat and shot and murdered. So it means the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. The white man put you in slavery. That's what that means.
Will the elect be men, women, and children?
No, the elect will only be men.
Someone said, what did Garfield pull out that so-called debunked Deuteronomy 28?
He didn't. He did. He didn't. He bluffed. Y'all gotta understand what happened. I went out there on Friday. They tried to do a fishing expedition to see what we were going to talk about. In the midst of that, Garfield showed his whole hand and told me every single thing he had on what he's seen us present in the past. One of which he tried to make a bluff and say he found Deuteronomy 28 in an earlier civilization, which he had to admit during his presentation he didn't find, but there were like some relative similarities. These guys are bluff. This is poker, baby. They're bluffing, and he showed me his cards. I didn't show him his card. You said what? No, Garfield is a guy named Garfield. That's his name, Garfield A. Reed. Right. So go ahead.
On the eclipse this Monday.
It's a feast day. It's the blowing of the trumpet starts when the eclipse comes. And we know, pursuant to Psalms 19. You said what? Sunday night into Monday night. So the eclipse will come Monday morning. Yeah, Shabbat, new moon. It's coming with the new moon. It's coming with the Sabbath. It's coming with the feast day. You see what I'm saying? So it's all in accordance with the Lord's calendar. What's his name? Zanak Salakia. Yeah, it's pretty much coming into the end of summer. This is the last month of summer that's coming in. So and then we got Day of Atonement right after. But go ahead.
When are we supposed to have our heads wrapped? Does it only apply to Israelites when they are prophesied?
This is a woman?
Still, welcome to the 92503.
Well, it depends if you're a man or a woman that is that question, so you're going to have to clarify.
It says, can y'all break down Zechariah 4:6-9? Other camps said this represents Zerubbabel being Yahushua.
No, that does not represent that. But ultimately, it's a foreshadowing of it. To understand the book of Zechariah, just look up SICARRI, book of Zechariah. We break down every single book in the book of Zechariah, every single chapter, rather, in the spirit of power, Yahushua. So look at that. But no, Zerubbabel is not Yahushua, but Zerubbabel and Joshua symbolize the Melchizedekite priesthood, which Yahushua personifies and is the high priest of.
Can you explain why Brazil is one of the or is a part of the carpenter?
Because white people run Brazil. Israelites don't run Brazil. The last Brazilian president was a German woman. White people run Brazil. All right. The Asherites and the other southern kingdom tribes that are in Brazil are in absolute hell in Brazil. All right. Portuguese and Jewish people run Brazil.
What happens to the wives and children of the elect?
They're a part of the innumerable multitude, which is called the 1/3.
Like so the situation that's going on in Venezuela, you think that's going to last all the way to the end of this year? You think all the people going to extinct?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to tell.
So dealing with them, they can still be dealt with, right?
What you mean?
They don't believe in Yahshua. There's no not the people talking about. That's when you know,
Yeah, well, the people, there's going to be people from all over the world taken, but 1/3 is going to be saved, but we don't know the amount of people that's going to be taken. The 2/3 and 1/3 is really just dealing with America. Then we have people all over the world that's going to be a part of it as well. Go ahead. I mean, do it to the best. Keep the laws to the best of your abilities. You see what I'm saying? So if you can, then do it. You know, what you got?
Has anyone heard of the Revelations 12 breakdown being some sort of some kind of star alignment?
Yeah, I've heard of that nonsense. That's the Draco constellation. That's absolute nonsense. The Bible does not talk about star alignments, all right? Contrary to anybody's retarded belief.
All right, it seems like a sincere question, so I'm going to go back up to it. You say he's dead ass. Listen. This is a doozy. I'm 19. Can I still smoke ganja during Sabbath day? This is my first, or tomorrow is going to be his first Sabbath.
Listen, don't.
Quick. And he says, I'm dead ass. I don't know how to even practice the Sabbath.
Listen, number one, don't smoke ganja at all.
That's right. That's right.
Any day, ever. Number one. Number two, if you want to know how to keep the Sabbath, number one, open your Bible. Sell. Stay in the house. Chill out. You have something? Just like it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Questions, man. Put your questions in. Anybody got questions in the room?
What about it? You said what? I mean, you just don't do something. You see what I'm saying? You either don't eat, you don't drink. You see what I'm saying? That's it. It's not there's nothing special to it. You see what I'm saying? Just, you know, you don't eat for whatever a lot of time that you predetermine. You see what I'm saying? That's it.
I was gonna say it could also it could be something that you do on a consistent basis. Like you got to cut something off for a period of time.
went for 240. And we went down to 218. So
What, from fasting?
like now everything that's not supposed to be.
Oh, kind. Well, no, so it's okay. It's like this. So let's say, you know, this brother was in a situation. He cut out meat for what, 45 days?
45
He
days.
fasted 45 days, no meat. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing wrong with eating meat. Of course, according to the law, we don't eat anything unlawful. But he cut out meat for 45 days. You know what I'm saying? Stop playing video games. Stop watching TV for, you know, a period of time. You know, to focus and afflict yourself. You know, so that's why some people, they go without eating for a day, 2 days, or, you know, they'll only drink water for a couple of days. You know, that's usually the type of fasting, the typical type of fasting that you see people do. Stop eating, period, for 24 or 48 hours.
Your medicine too. You know, psych medicine, but you know, medicine. Like,
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you're gonna fast as far as food, cut it all out. Or again, if you say, okay, you know what, I'm not gonna eat any food, but I'm, you know, still keep my vitamins or whatever. You know, just it's a time where you gotta fight your flesh. All right, afflict yourself through fighting with your flesh. Say it again.
Yeah. Just a little over a week, and we're gonna be. It's the Day of Atonement.
Yeah, like the day.
Next Tuesday we got Day of Atonement.
Yeah, the Day of Atonement is a fast. It's not a feast. There wasn't a heresy. It's a feast.
Yeah, it was a heresy. That was out a damnable heresy.
A damnable one. Atonement is not a feast day. It's a fast, and in that fast, you go without food or drink from sundown from E to E.
For 24 hours.
24-hour period. So no drink, no food.
So that's the situation. The long process, the long period of it's just not. I guess I see the other things, but when it comes to eating, you do it for a long period of time. People what like I'm like lost.
I mean, there's only one time a year you have to fast. That's the Day of Atonement. Outside of that, it's personal. That's a personal choice of you, whether you're gonna fast from one thing or another, and you know you predetermine it with, you know, between you and the Most High. It's you know, but the Day of Atonement is no eating and no drinking for a whole 24 hours. So that's a part of the law. Ain't no way around that. But outside of that, it's on you and how you want to do it. You see what I'm saying? If you say I'm not gonna eat on Monday from sun up to sundown for 12-hour period, then you're not going to do that. You see what I'm saying? That's between you and the Most High. But there's not a mandate on it like it is with Day of Atonement. That's a mandatory fast. You see what I'm saying? Sorry. Yeah, it's next Tuesday. It's next Tuesday. 28th or 29th? It's like 28th or 29th. Now, 26th is Saturday. That's the fight. It's like 28th or 29th. You see what I'm saying?
Thursday, right?
It was on a Tuesday. Yeah, we'll have class.
It was next Tuesday, 22nd.
No, not that's this Tuesday. Next Tuesday is the Tuesday after that. Tuesday night to Wednesday night.
That's 29th.
It's the 29th. Night of the 29th. We'll have class that night. We'll have class that night. Go ahead.
I'm definitely not a drinking man, but how is alcohol? What's the law?
I mean, ain't no law. It's lawful. You can drink it. You see what I'm saying? You can drink it.
Just not, you can't. Most High says not to be a drunk, correct?
Not to be an alcoholic, of course. Yeah. Not to be under the power of anything. Not to be an addict of anything. You see what I'm saying? So that's where it's at. But yeah, drinking is lawful. You can drink. You said what?
When I had my motorcycle last night, I was on the streets. I ain't up nothing like over 3 months. Like purchasing it out of my system.
Yeah. Stay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would always prescription medication as much as possible. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because we have natural medications. You understand what I'm saying? Even you know, you could go get, especially dealing with pain. I'm sure that whatever happened, you was into pain. Even for pain, you could do things. Get the CBD oil. You know what I'm saying? The CBD oil and things like that to deal with the actual healing principles that something like a marijuana leaf would have. Of course, not to get high and smoke it, but to actually take the extracted oil, utilize it, you know, apply it topically to your areas of pain, ingest it, you know, eat it, you know, use it in your food and things like that to help curb that pain, as opposed to dealing with, you know, pharmaceutical opioids because of their habit forming nature. You see what I'm saying? And how much chemicals and all the mad scientists that the devil is doing with it. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that would be the advice in that realm. You know, what else we got?
Yeah, just because I'm seeing the conversation going back, brothers going back and forth. Yah is peace. Your Rasta homie is bugged out.
That's right. If he's a Rastafarian, he's bugged out.
Your Rasta homie is bugged out. It's through the spirit that you said something about your Rasta when we were just going over that before class. No, you're not supposed to smoke weed. As brothers is telling you, and I'm gonna reiterate it just on the show watching, on the live stream watching. If for whatever reason you consume it, it should be it should go into your digestive system, not your respiratory system, to be smoked. All right,
for medicinal purposes.
And for medicinal purposes. And just because you see people doesn't make it okay for you to smoke weed. And I'm in that there. Like I said, I only address it because I see brothers going back and forth with you, and you're asking us the question. It says, what kind of fish is unlawful, and is tuna unlawful?
Tuna is unlawful. Don't eat tuna. No more tuna sandwiches. That's absolutely disgusting. Don't eat it. The scales that they try to act like is on the tuna is not even real. Microscopic scales. If you caught a tuna in the ancient times, you throwing it back because you can't with your eyes see the scales. Catfish also have microscopic scales. We know we're not supposed to eat catfish, so it's got to have scales and fins. Plain and simple. Stay away from tuna. And stay away from tilapia too, because that's a damn make-believe fish anyway. Right? We'll go ahead.
Can you have water on Day of Atonement?
No, can't have anything on the Day of Atonement. That's right.
He must be a Levite.
He's very serious about this law.
Hey, I'm gonna say this too, man. For brothers that's in the chat, right? Y'all gotta relax on trying to just jump on a brother's head so hard, like he's been an elder in this thing for 30 years. A brother, he's asking some funny questions for brothers that's been in this thing. But if he's letting you know that he's just new to the truth and he really doesn't know, then that's fine. All right. Don't jump on this hammer too much and be so condescending to try to like make fun of the brother. All right. Going over that. It says, have no idea how to deal with mixed family. Sis is married to a Ukrainian, had 2 kids together. Child from an Israelite. Much war in that house. Oh, I thought that was a question. I just wanted to read that. That was crazy. Those 2 kids is heathens, by the way. So going to write them off, homie. Yeah, they all getting on this dude, man. Y'all gotta relax, man. Let the brother ask his questions and we'll answer it. Any else? No water on Day of Atonement.
Just hydrate real good the day before.
Man, just thug it out, man. All right.
You know, we do this. We do this every year, man. We do this every year.
Out, man. Right.
That's right. Well,
make sure you remember though too, because I remember when I first came into the camp, man, it was that first one. You don't even think about it. Just in your day-to-day routine is just go get you some water or go get you something to drink or something to eat. Just make sure you remember.
That's right.
I have another question. It's kind of
Go ahead.
a little off topic of where we're going, but you know, since I'm new here, so I just wanted to understand, as far as the Apocrypha is concerned, why was it removed? And I have the year 1885.
1885.
But I looked it up, and that's
Who's got the blue letter? Who's got the blue letter up? Go to the bottom. It's going to tell you. It'll tell you right here on the blue letter when it's really start getting removed. Go up. It'll give you 2 years, 1611, another year. Boom, right there. 1769 is when they started to remove the blue letter out. The Protestants removed the Apocrypha out. Okay, over 100 years, or nearly 200 years after King James published it, because the Protestant church was rebelling. You got to understand the politics that occurred during the church and the splits that occurred in the early church. Not the early church, but the Catholic Church. You had the Anglican, because then the first split from the Catholic Church, which was the Anglican Church, which is essentially Catholic, right? It's the Protestant Church. You see what I'm saying? Then you had which was started by Martin Luther. Amongst the Protestants, there was a split because, which Protestant means Protestant, right? They were protesting the Catholic Church. Then amongst the Protestants, there was a split because some people said, y'all ain't following the teachings of Martin Luther, and we really are, so we're going to be the Lutherans. You see what I'm saying? In the midst of that, some of them took the Apocrypha out and want to deal with the intertestamental books, the Maccabees and Ezra's and the various prophecies that's in there, you know. But it had to all do with religious beliefs, and they have nothing to do with historical authenticity, or, as they would say, inspired, whether it was inspired or not. It was never called into question whether or not it was inspired before Protestants started calling it to question. The Catholics still have it in their Bible. You see what I'm saying? It's still there. You go to Maccabees and Sirach and all that, that's still in the Catholic Bible. You see what I'm saying? So what? Oh, you know, yeah, the Catholic it's still in there. Still right in there. Anything else? Anything else in the chat?
So the brother said he was a 5%er for 4 years. Just came into the truth less than a month ago.
What's the math? What's the math? What's today's math?
He says, "Is calling yourself God the greatest sin, and can he?"
What Christian told you that nonsense?
That's funny.
Read Psalm 82:6. The nation of gods and earth didn't come up with that on their own. They got it from the Bible.
That's right. Right. Can we go out on the Sabbath? The brother already answered that. No.
Stay in the house. According to the Bible.
The Day of Atonement starts
Tuesday. Next Tuesday, the 29th.
The evening of Tuesday, the 29th. Yeah, you already had it.
Sunset.
At sunset, yes, sir. That's all.
I'm not gonna be staying in the house. I'm gonna be over Virgin Islands. Just
don't eat, and don't drink for that whole time. Man, going on vacation, huh?
Got an atonement on the vacation.
I came a long way from Inglewood, okay? Okay, go ahead.
Anybody else? Anybody else in the room? Hey, first, now your time to get them questions. You said you had questions. Yeah, it doesn't have to be on a specific topic. What you got back there?
Answers and questions. What's going on?
The situation that's been going on with these popes, like Pope Francis, and about what's going on with these Christianity church and they're applying these churches to them. So are these guys going by the Talmud too as well?
Who? No, they're not going by the Talmud.
It's not their own Bible.
They're going off they're not going by no Bible. They're going by the papal bulls and things like that. They're not even going off. They're going off of whatever the hell they feel like doing. You see what I'm saying? They believe they supreme rulers. Yeah, sick as hell. Right? But yeah, they're not going off the Talmud. What else we got? Somebody else had a hand up?
Okay. So something I've been doing to try to kind of gain understanding as fast as I can is I believe, thanks to the Most High, the job that I have right now has allowed me a lot of free time while I'm there to do some readings and catch up. And I've noticed that there's some camps that they say that what they're wearing, like, you know, some of the brothers here, is called the Star of David. But I remember on the first night out in downtown San Diego, I forget who it was, but they said that it was not actually the Star of David. It's what exactly?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's various things. It's a lily, it's a pomegranate, it's a snowflake, it's honeycomb. You see what I'm saying? It symbolizes various things in the scriptures. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
And a follow up to that is, where can I find that in the scripture?
We gotta go. Just look up SICARRI Star of David on YouTube. All the breakdown videos we have on it, you can see it because it's a whole gang of precepts on it to show you all the various things.
Also, you died. You see that scripture he said?
What?
In the chat?
No, I didn't see it.
I didn't see that. It was cold.
Did you separate those the videos that day? Because you did one.
I've already separated all the videos.
Yeah, because you did the one in class, man. I'm talking about
that one.
every single one of them was crazy.
I'm watching nonstop.
Yeah.
SICARRI for sure, and some other camps in the U.S. Just going line to line.
Yeah, come. Yeah. We got the breakdowns on it though, so you can get all the precepts, various precepts on it. But yeah, the symbol predates David, so it's not. Well, so some people call it the Star of David or the Shield of David, but it's in the Bible before David.
Yeah, that's kind of the understanding I was trying to.
Come.
Yes, the one that talks about David and the lily.
It says, I saw a post about a 24-hour counseling line. Is that still active?
You got to talk to the deacon about that, who is not in the building. That's the deacon's thing. Not mine. I don't have 24 hours for anything. But go ahead.
Random question, Akim. Did Solomon really use demons to build his temple?
Stop listening to the white man. That's not in the Bible. The Lord Yahweh told him to build a temple. So how did he use demon? Come on, man. Stop listening to the white man, dude. They created legends and myths about Solomon that have nothing to do with his life and time. What do you mean? Like you said something about the Ark of the Covenant being over there. Then you said, why is he gonna put them to death? With the Ark of the Covenant being over there? Why? Because they put us in slavery. That's why. God. There's the Ark of the Covenant has never been found. That they say is over there in Ethiopia. Yeah, that's of course that you can't. In order to find the Ark of the Covenant, you have to be a Levitical priest or an angel of God to find the Ark of the Covenant. I mean, anybody can create a document and say it's anything. Then the Bible tells you that he hid it in Sinai. It don't say he hid it in Ethiopia. You see what I'm saying? It said he hid it in Sinai in a cave. So that ain't even near Ethiopia. You see what I'm saying? Where the Bible says it's at. So I'm gonna go with the scriptures. I ain't gonna go with what the Ethiopians are saying. And as we can see that the Lord is plaguing and destroying Ethiopia every day. You see what I'm saying? So they clearly, if they did have the Ark of the Covenant, they should get rid of it because it's a curse to them. You see what I'm saying? Just like with when the Philistines stole the Ark of the Covenant from us, it was a curse. It was all kind of stuff happening to them because they had it. You ain't got no business with it. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead. You got another one? You had another one? Okay, Con. What's up? What's something else?
No. I just found one.
Our brother just said, is me going to camp on a Sabbath to make my attendance?
No. That's it.
Yeah, the name of the Most High is Yahweh. You'll notice that at the beginning and the end of all of our lessons. Yeah, that's about it.
All right.
So he said the white man had Indiana Jones looking for the Ark of the
Covenant. Yes. Okay, in the crystal skull. Yeah, all right. He's still to this day. He ain't found. All right. All praise Yahweh. Shalom.